Peace. It's Quality the Great. We finna talk about it's episode 2 of my show. I still don't have a name for my show, but we're gonna talk about Jay's interview on the DrinkChamps with Nori and EFN. All right, no, we're gonna get right into it. I think um, he made a great point when Jewish man or somebody around him told him that he should go to the Holocaust Museum. He responds with saying, quote, Planned Parenthood is our Holocaust Museum, unquote. Facts. So, you can research that statement. A couple people to look into is Margaret Sanger, Bill Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the people that's associated with birth control slash birth control agenda is in line with the depopulation agenda. They feel as though it's a better, the world is becoming overpopulated. It's not true, but that's what they saying. That's what Bill Gates is putting out and stuff. So, but that's who, right? Margaret Sanger. When we talking about Planned Parenthood, that's one of their business ventures. That's what it was started by Margaret Sanger, right? That one was. Yep. Started by young Margot, young Margaret Sanger. Anyway, so we'll start right there, right? I like that statement that Ye made, because it's true. So, you know, we're gonna take care of that. That's one thing. Next statement is next point is he made is the top two is one of the two main things that like caught attention from the interview, the entire interview, which was 3 hours long. I seen it when it came out or the day after. It was a good interview, man. Basically, the first point that in my opinion, got the most attention from the 3 hour long interview, which came in the beginning, was he made his statements about the George Floyd situation. Safe travels. There he was wrong. If you read the autopsy report, and it's been cross-checked by different doctors. All the doctors that had something to do with the situation of Derek Chauvin killing George Floyd. Also attested to the fact that the death was George Floyd's death was as a result of Derek Chauvin knee to the neck and his unlawful arrest, which was supported by the autopsy report, which is public, if I'm not mistaken, and has been analyzed over and over again by multiple doctors. But even people on Instagram, right, on social media, they looked into it too. The internet, and the internet does good investigative journalism, analysis, all that. But I gotta get my man's name who did a good one, just so we can hear it in multiple different words, from multiple different angles. Even though I think that was a little bit, I felt like that point when Ye said that, Oh, his foot and like his foot wasn't even on, his knee wasn't even on his neck like that. I felt like he was kind of, that was like from left field. I felt like there was an intention behind it, but I didn't know what it was, because from the angle that I saw the video from, but also I think there was a level of trying to direct the mind in a certain direction with that one, because it makes, I don't want to say lead you down a rabbit hole, but for example, like everybody the whole world could tell that, you know, Derek Chauvin was the reason why um, George Floyd lost his life, and then it was supported by the autopsy report, and then critically analyzed by cross-checked by multiple doctors and the internet, that says Derek Chauvin did kill him, and there's no reason to. So my point of saying all that is I don't see any reason to debate that. But then you'll come from the angle. Oh, that's why, right? He's coming from the angle when he says that George Floyd, his comments about George Floyd, basically that, oh yeah, and fentanyl has something to do with it, his death. These two things felt like they was coming from, they felt like they was coming from like a Republican, what a person would think of a Republican, right? A WASP, person from that frame of mind. So I was like, I don't know why you would say that. Even if it's true, you gotta say it. I feel you, but and if he felt like it was true, that's why Nori gave him the platform to give him his opinion. But you know, yeah. So but from my research, that statement was wrong about George Floyd. He was actually killed by Derek Chauvin. He said he wasn't, or his neck wasn't, his foot wasn't on the neck, like that, end quote, implying that wasn't it. And then his whole, I guess he was speaking from, because he was saying it's in the documentary, as if there was only one documentary, right? But in that documentary, right, he says it's coming from Candace Owens. I don't even want to get into that, but when he's saying his source for this point, it ain't looking good, my boy. Talking about, I'm not gonna get into that. Candace Owens, I wish her the best. We gotta get her back. You feel me? Word back to the team. You feel me? Like, cause I like a little bit of what you saying, but like I think you need some. I think you need, like Risa said, you need to talk to Risa, man. Have a conversation with him, man. Again, if you haven't already, cause yeah, I ain't trying to spend too much time on it. All right, so that's George Floyd, right? I just don't think. Not only is he wrong, the sources that he was saying is not credible. Because if you look into the people that's in the documentary, because he don't act like it's only one, they're like far right individuals. So it's and that's like kind of what it sounded like he was reiterating in the interview too. So I'm like, I put it together. This young man connected the dots for me on that one. So shout out to him. I still get his information for everybody. The next thing that caught the most attention from Ye's interview, Kanye West, now known as Ye, The other thing that caught the most attention, in my opinion, was what's being referred to as his comments on Jewish media. In this case, I don't know if I want to reserve the my opinion for now or later, but I'll tell you this. I'll tell you now. When it comes to the Jews in that interview, in the Jews, his statements about Jewish people and the Jewish media and their business operations, 100% facts. And I was sitting there when he was saying it. I'm like, I'm happy somebody was kicking it. I'm like, facts, like, you know, I was happy he was kicking it to them, and he was really just, he said a couple things, like, and then to see the response that it's getting, then they was acting like, to see the response that it's getting, I didn't expect it. I expected more from the people, facts, more like Nori and them. Like, I expected more from the people that are talking down on it. Maybe a lot of people are supportive of certain things. They got to speak up because and it's a loud minority. Because the people that's speaking up are, like, I'm not a fan of Rosenberg, and it's interesting that proved Nori's point too, Ye's point too. So, soon as he ruffled some feathers on your show, Nori, I found that interesting. The next thing I heard from you when you gave your apology was you gave your apology, and it was to Rosenberg. Not Rosenberg. It was to hip hop through Hot 97 talking to Rosenberg, which cemented. And he was talking in a condescending manner. That's why I'm not a fan of him. You are really, bro, on the bottom of the totem pole. What's his name? Rosenberg. For real. So you gotta chill out. You know what I mean? But anyway, Nori, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of proves what he was saying, because look at what he was saying. He said, when people say Ye's comments on Jewish people and the Jewish media, they're talking about him saying, I respect what the Jewish people have done. Sorry, I took a little notes, right? He said, I respect what the Jewish people have done. Quote, and then another one, he said they own the black voice. And he's talking about in terms of business. They own a lot of basketball teams. He said they own a lot of music companies, music labels. They own a lot of. He was making the point that they own a lot of things that melanated individuals, black people, are into, right? And he's saying that they pay black people, and black people's on the bottom of the totem pole, like Rosenberg is. But my name is Drew, and I'm the face and hands behind right. So with this being said, that's just not true. You see what I'm saying? So they own, which is that part is true. You know what I mean? So all this is true. Like he's saying, they own a lot. They own a black voice through business, right? Because, for example, there's a lot of violence in hip hop music that he says there's a lot of violence and toxicity in his music in hip hop rap music, and black people's killing black people, and the Jewish man is getting paid for it. It might be raw, but where's the lie? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people they rap about a lot of people that lost their lives and shit like that. And that's not. So we ain't gonna get into that, man. Listen. So All right. But yeah. So they are getting paid for it, and they do fund that. Why they don't fund more rappers like Common? I know he's the go-to example, but why they don't fund more other rappers since they're acting like that's the only one? And oh no, it's a escape too, a scapegoat. They say, oh, it's the most entertaining. That's cap. It is not the most entertaining. That's the money part of it. They feed it to you as much. It's like feeding. That's like saying fast food is the most healthiest or most because it's the most accessible. Nah, my boy. So yeah, they own a lot of teams that they own a lot of business entities that pay black people. Not by you know, not by chance either. So when he says they own Black Voice, where's the lie? They own the Black Voice. Where's the lie? Besides quality the great, you know what I mean? Then he also says in reference to melanated beings, black people, the blood of Christ. Facts. This is directly talking about the melanation, aka the carbonated beings, and the nine ether essence of the people of us, who's referred to nowadays as black people. So that blood of Christ, he's talking about the melanin. Come on, man. First of all, he also says, first of all, I can't be an anti-Semite because I am a Jew. We all Jews. End quote. Facts. Where is the lie, my boy? Like, what are we talking about right here? Like, come on, man. I'm sitting here listening to this. I'm like, good shit, my boy. Like, you putting the science down, sounding like, R.I.P. the noble Drew Ali. Like, talking that talk, man. Like, so I'm happy that he was kicking that too. It was some smart. He was kicking that intellectual right there, and he was doing it articulately too. So I'm like, and he's saying, look at this, look. It's proving his whole point though too, real quick. He says, I respect what the Jewish people have done. But first of all, I can't be an anti-Semite because I am a Jew. We all Jew. He says, all of these things, and he's saying, there's no anti-Semitism in any of it. I don't see it. That's why I didn't get it on my first anti-Semite. Come on, like, yeah, you gotta be kidding me. That's what I'm probably reacting to the people that's like didn't know about this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, shoot. But I don't want to stay on that too long, but that's the two main things. First, the George Floyd statement, he was wrong. And then his comments about the Jews, which both, he was right. Comments about the Jews, comments about the Jewish media and the Jews. He was right. All right, so one he's wrong, one he's right. And then now you got the rest of the interview to deal with. Okay. So now, which is 3 hours long. So, okay. He also makes another point. Now the rest is just like good points and stuff. The first one he says one black man does something good, then it's just him. But then, like, to enjoy that success. But then he does one black man does a bad thing. Now, the guilty by association factor kicks in. And everybody is looked at bad because of one black man's mistake. Okay, I see validity to this point. Then he goes on to say, for the Jewish people, this is flipped. If they do a crime, it's that one person. He's isolated. But if he's oh nah, I'm not even gonna give y'all that. That's my thing. But if the Jewish person does a bad thing, it's only him, and doesn't reflect the group. So this is flipped. He was verbalizing the dichotomy between the experience of the black being and the Jewish being in that context, in terms of the guilty by association phenomenon. Where's the lie on that? Let me keep that to myself. Anyway, let's continue. Poke the bear. He poked the bear metaphor. He used this poke the bear metaphor. And then he also says, "I'm not afraid." That I liked it. I like the poke the bear metaphor. It reminded me of the Chinese emperor. I think they refer to him, or one of them Asian emperors. Rulers. They refer to him as the panda. So, but definitively speaking, he was saying they poked the bear because they keep messing with him through business, through his family, through music, just through different aspects of his life, which he considers poking him. And then now he's reacting to being poked, and that's where he says, "I'm not afraid anymore." So and then in this, so I can see that puts the interview in itself into context, because now I can see, for me, because now I can see why he was putting out knowledge that many people don't have. He was putting it out, you know what I mean? So that's real good. Continuing, he says, "They're proving my point." He said it in the interview. I forgot about that. That's why I wrote it down. It's exactly right. For him to get, let's put that take that out of context and talk about right now for a second. Like, with them dropping him from a lot of his contracts, because he's been dropped since this interview, because of this interview. Not even because of this, because of the interview, he's been dropped. But they're taking what he said in the interview, his comments, and they're misconstruing his words, which he mentions in the interview itself. He says he doesn't care. That's why he says, "I'm not scared. I'm not afraid anymore." Because he's gonna say the truth. He's gonna speak his truth, and regardless of the outcome, the consequences, he's gonna do that. So even if they try to misconstrue his words, he's still gonna do that. He's still gonna speak his truth. So when he says they're proving my point, I'm like, him being dropped from all this, people showing their level of knowledge of history, it's all proven, what his point was, and especially regards to the Jewish media. The Jewish media, he says, I'm gonna get into it a little bit later too, like, they have certain business tactics. They're not willing to own up to them, which he mentions, which I'm gonna mention later, which he says. And so when he says they proving my point, this interview, they're misconstruing the state. Basically, they're misconstruing the statement. They're misconstruing me. Imagine that. That's what they're doing, because they're saying they're calling his comments about Jewish media's business dealings and their business tactics, which are unethical to say the least. Not all of them, but just what? Universal, the main ones. The people that it applies to. If the shoe that fits it, wears it. Like he said, he want the kids of the Jewish people to ask their parents, why is Ye mad at them? Why is Ye mad at these people that's called Jewish? Right? So he's willing to have this conversation, and he's saying that his motivation comes from them taking his family away, separating his family, calling them all kinds of names in the media, and such like that. It just proves his point that them misconstruing the fact that he's trying to say he's being misconstrued is further proving his point that he's being misconstrued. That's the point. So, moving on, right? Within all this, he's starting a city. This is a good thing. Imagine me being mad at a black man for starting a city. And a good black man, too. He ain't necessarily hurt. He ain't hurting nobody. Or I used to listen to Curtis over graduation, but I still listen to Ye every now and again. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when he dropped Diamonds Are Forever. That's my joint. Like, but word. So, like, and I'm gonna make a point about that too. His music career. So they're proving back to that. They prove my point that we already left that. They're starting a city. That's a good thing. He's a black man starting a city. Imagine me being mad at that. That's a good thing. Or just not even that, but just shout out to that. I also want to say, I know the USA is like the most powerful right now. Feel me? So it might be good to start a city with them, but maybe look at, like, you see how Akon did it too. Like, he did it over there with our people and stuff. Like, maybe you should look into something like that. You know what I mean? But hey, not necessarily. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Okay. Yay. Let's richest black man in history. American history. Let's end quote. Let's expand on this statement just a little bit. I'm familiar with Mansa Musa. I know his wealth is connected to a kingdom. But he was a money man. I was named after him. And he was also a diplomat. He united Northern Africa. He attempted to unite Northern Africa with his Hajj, his trip to Mecca. Yeah. In a diplomatic move. Not only did he give mad money out, everybody knows he's a money man. He is the money man. Long story short, that was like 400 billion apparently. I think that's a low number for real. But yeah, so you talking about, and at the highest that we was talking about, I heard you say 11.6 bill. I'm happy for you regardless with that money, right? But when you say I'm the richest black man in history, and then Nori tries to say American history, either one of those, if you in the American history one, 11.6, right? Because I know there's the finance man, black billionaire, and And obviously you got Ree and Jay, but got one or two or a couple, whatever. This is counting people pockets. But the highest I heard you clock that is 11.6, and that would be the highest I heard of a black man in American history. But then internationally, I'm not sure if that's the truth. So I want to know what makes you say that. I'm just wondering. You're not entitled to give me an answer. I'm just, when you say that, I'm curious. Feel me? Let me figure that out. Yeah, so you got I'm Moses. I like that. End quote. I'm Moses. End quote. I like that. Freaking, bro. He was speaking figuratively. Yeah, I see it. I can liken his behavior right now. I can see it, fam. Like right now, he is doing a lot of teaching, and theoretically bringing people into a new land, right? So I like that statement when he compared himself to Moses. Next, moving on, he said when he was watching the George Floyd documentary that he mentioned it reminded him of Virgil, the designer. I'm personally not. I don't see that connection. I was wondering why he did that. I thought it was interesting because he said it was something. There was a physical connection about what he was talking about. Like they looked alike. And he said something about they're making statues. Virgil's old company is making statues in his honor and for Virgil. And I think that's interesting too, but I don't know how we got on Virgil when how we got onto Virgil when we was talking about when they was talking about Derek Chauvin and George Floyd. So moving on, right? They did mention the White Lives Matter shirt. He didn't wear it that day, but they mentioned it. And I think he was trying to get votes with that. I think he was trying to get votes with it, but that was after the fact that I came up with that. Off the top, initially, I didn't really like that. That he was wearing that shirt because I felt like it undermines the concept of Black Lives Matter. Which is true. You feel me? The way that organization of Black Lives, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm gonna just say that the way that it's ran is not in accordance to the title of the organization, but Ye wearing that, it's owned by George Soros, and so is the we ain't gonna do that. The Black Lives Matter movement, we can stick on that, is owned by George Soros. So I mean, and he even mentioned that in the interview. So I was happy. I was like, that's what I'm saying. Well, I was happy that he was dropping this down. Because when I say that, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. But I knew that already. But Ye said that. Now, y'all think Ye's crazy. But maybe you crazy, because you didn't know it. Ask Georgie. He'll tell you he acquired it. Boom. Moving on, that White Lives Matter shirt, I ain't really feel it. But I think he did it for votes. So, because he's running for president, right? I think he mentioned he mentioned something interesting. He said when Kim Kardashian said that his MAGA hat was small dick energy. Um, he mentions that he says through a person named Corey that the Kardashians are aligned with the Clinton campaign. And remember that the Clinton campaign, and remember that the Clinton campaign deals with human trafficking in Haiti, IET, okay? And Hillary Clinton and Barack off my boy Muammar Gaddafi. And Gaddafi wasn't nobody in Africa trying to really protect him like that because they didn't know what he was about. He looked like an Arab black man. So they was like, should we protect him? I don't know. The Union, African Union. I mean, he got bread. Like he should be able to. But mind you, the whole time he was funding Pan-African projects, which is good. But they were questioning his intentions behind doing that. But that's a little bit to stay on topic, right? So the Clintons, to stay on topic, that's a little bit of their businesses that they getting into. They also are into vaccinating for the coronavirus, the COVID-19, vaccinating black people specifically. So they're using Kim Kardashian. So the Kardashians, they're using the Kardashian family to promote it to black people. So Kanye brings this up, the connection, which is not good, no good. You shouldn't be promoting vaccinations from the United States of America, especially not for the coronavirus, in that way that they was doing, without the science, to people. And so he brings this up in regards to Kim Kardashian saying that about his hat, which reminded me of his alignment with Trump, which made me think about I don't know if they was in the house at the time, because I'm not in, right? I got my own joints, but it was interesting. One half of the Parenthood is aligned with Trump, and one half was aligned with Clinton. So that's interesting. I saw. Moving on a little bit, Nori, let me just tell you, Black Lives Matter. It doesn't equate. You never said that, but you made a statement. I could pull it up right now, but you were referring to. You said I'm black. You said I'm black, and I'm down with Black Lives Matter, using that organization as support for your ethnicity. First of all, family, let me tell you, fam, you black, period. That's like you said. You don't have to prove it. You know what I mean? But I want to tell you, factually speaking, right? Black Lives Matter. They be mismanaging their money, and cause they be raising money, and they don't be going to the money, raising money for a specific black cause, and then the money goes to the leaders of the Black Lives Matter organization. So that's unethical. So don't, you know what I mean, align necessarily. And it's also owned by George Soros, which is a white man. So then he also owns another company, another movement and trademark movement in this country that I'm not going to speak on right now. And so with this being said, so specifically speaking with Black Lives Matter, fam, that wasn't a good example. You could have did it in another way, just like, you know what I mean, you could have pointed to yourself like, nigga, I'm black, period.